My name is Ben Herold, and this past year I learned to share stories through shoes. Really, really cool shoes. See, through shoes, I learned of a single mother with 4 children who works, goes to school, and takes one of her children to cancer treatment just down the road. Through shoes, I have learned of a 3-year-old who in a single year spent 123 nights in the hospital and endured 7 weeks of daily radiation. Over this past year, I have learned an incredible number of stories and have learned about the incredible power of simply listening. See, the reason I'm up here, the reason I have this opportunity is not because of brilliance or a great personality, I promise you. The reason I'm up here is because I listened, genuinely and without an agenda. I listened to one girl talk about Veggie Tales and Archibald the asparagus, another about hammerhead sharks, another about how I reminded him of Joe Burrow, which was a phenomenal confidence boost, albeit, a bit of a stretch, but it was conversations such as these, the conversations that extended beyond cancer, the conversations that the children wanted to have, that I found myself grow closer and learn the most about how I could help them without ever having to ask the question, how can I help? I learned that in many cases, just listening is the help. And by that same principle, I created a project called Shoes for Hope, which aims to give these children an opportunity to share their stories and be listened to on a national level. Shoes for Hope connects children who either actively or have previously received cancer treatment to their local men's and women's college basketball programs. And as part of the project, each child is given a pair of shoes similar to my own that at a painting session, kind of like a blank canvas, they're given the opportunity to custom paint the shoes alongside players and coaches, such that by the end of the session, you look around at all the shoes. Some of them have sharks all over them. Some of them have otters. Some of them took inspiration from Jackson Pollock. But, the purpose of these shoes is to give these children an opportunity to express themselves, to share their interests, to share their passions, and most importantly, to share their story as they so choose. And in order to share this story further, the coaches who participated in this program then wear the shoes that these children created at the annual Coaches versus Cancer game, such that the minute they step foot on the court, these children's stories are being seen, they're being heard, and they're being listened to. And my intention, why I chose shoes, why I want a collegiate coach wearing the artwork of a 3-year-old on their feet, can be explained by the artwork found on my feet. See, as I've been up here, I'm sure you guys have seen my shoes. They're really sick. But some of you, at first glance, might think they're slightly unfashionable or maybe not business casual. But to me, they mean the world. These shoes were created by one of my very close friends who, right before high school graduation, was diagnosed with leukemia and whose cancer journey has made her feel as though these first glances are all she can get from those around her. That she is a cancer patient in room 304 and no longer tests the yoga enthusiast, the guitarist, or the Swiftie, which is a new term I learned. And so being her friend, I gave her these shoes as a way for her to express herself, to share her story, and to remind her that Tess is still very much there. But beyond that, me in Virginia, her in Wisconsin, I thought the best way that I could support her would be to stay in touch. And so we FaceTimed. And as I was writing this speech, as I was thinking about what I was going to talk about, I reflected on these FaceTime calls and, how they may or may not have helped her. And I realized how much more they had helped me. See, I can stand up here and say without a sliver of a doubt that if I ever fall down, if I ever need support, if I ever need someone to listen to me other than my mom, Tess is there. And that's not because of a single thing she had done or a single quality she had. It's because for several years she has consistently FaceTimed me about nothing more than Taylor Swift's carbon emissions, about her mom's expansive wardrobe, or about how my mom just figured out how to comment on Instagram and has since commented hearts on all of my posts, which is super cool. But see, it's because she was willing to have those conversations for so long that I know that when the conversation turns to something more serious, she will be there. She will be there. And she has taught me that this kind of listening, this listening without an agenda, listening with no requirement or responsibility, is how you form the deepest of human connections. And it is why I am so incredibly motivated and passionate to form these connections with the children at Shoes for Hope. The reason why I listen to them talk about VeggieTales and, hammerhead sharks. And so my hope is that when you look at these shoes, you are reminded to listen and not solely rely upon a first glance. And the response Shoes for Hope has gotten has shown me that this community, this Charlottesville community, is listening. At this point in time, there are over 40 local children participating at this program at both UVA and Virginia Tech. And this past month, all of their shoes were worn at the annual Coaches vs. Cancer game and have since been signed by all of the coaches and are currently being auctioned off, with all proceeds going to the pediatric oncology departments of the participating programs. And while I'm incredibly proud to kind of just know that money is coming back to this incredible cause, I'm even more proud to say that this project has created a community that listens, that wants to listen. There was a second grader participating in the UVA program who, right before the game, fell ill and was admitted to the hospital. He was unable to see his shoes, unable to be recognized at halftime, but the community listened. Over 35 people, friends, family, advocates of this little boy's story, bought tickets to the game, went to the game, and told his story when he was unable to. The community listened. Coach Young, the head coach at Virginia Tech, calls to check in on the 5-year-old that painted his shoes. A D1 college coach is calling in to check on a 5-year-old. He listened. Tony Bennett spent a portion of his press conference talking about the children's stories. And after the game, took an 11-year-old who painted his shoes back into the locker room to spend one-on-one time with him. He listened. President Ryan I saw on center court kneeling next to a 6-year-old talking about Pokemon. President Ryan was talking about Pokemon. He listened. See, my name is Ben Herold, and over this past year, I've learned the incredible power of simply listening, and how when a community chooses to listen, when a community wants to listen, they have the opportunity to create, inspire, and spread so much hope. Thank you all. Thank you, Tess, and I appreciate you all for listening.